Hi everyone, welcome to Dream and Be Reviews. I am your host, J.E., and today we're talking about Captain America Brave New World. Finally, Red Hulk. First off, I want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. It means a lot to me. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. I normally do reviews on TV, films, and anime. Anyway, let's jump straight into it. So, finally, it's happened. They're making a new Captain America movie. Now, a lot of people have been saying, or I would say some of the critics have been saying, this is a sequel to The Incredible Hulk. However, I feel that this might be the first of a trilogy of new movies in the umbrella of the Captain America franchise. This film is directed by Julius Orhan, and it has the writers Malcolm Spellman and Delan Masson. Now, these two writers basically were the two that were helming the TV show series that was on Disney Plus called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, starring Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. So let's talk a little bit about the film. So I had a couple of concerns when I heard that the film was coming out. I was hearing rumors and murmurings that it wasn't doing well when it comes to screen testing. This is something that happens when they put maybe kind of like a cut of the film and they test the audience to see if they appeal or appreciate what's been shown. And I'm hearing that the screen testings were not good. And so I'm already going in with low expectations. So, as I understand, this marks Anthony Mackie's first major film in the lead role as Captain America. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was a little joke slash spat slash little jab at the two actors, Tom Holland and Anthony Mackie. I think it was a couple of years ago at Comic-Con where let me just show you the video.
I need to watch this movie.
You haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming? I haven't seen the Falcon. Oh no, there isn't one. Sorry.
And for me, I just found it was quite funny. But finally, Anthony Mackie gets to get his own back on him and say, yeah, brother, I got my own film too. So I was quite excited to see Anthony Mackie's interpretation of Captain America. So let's talk about the cast. First off, I want to say the man of the hour, Mr. Anthony Mackie, he does an amazing job. Now, I haven't been completely sold on Anthony Mackie's writing chops, and I was a little bit worried that he'll be able to lead. And you know what? He does an amazing job. I feel, though, definitely where the film kind of lets him down was you could definitely see that the writing wasn't great. And like I've been hearing rumors and murmurings that due to the screen testings that happened, that the film was drastically changed from what its original interpretation of what the director and the writers wanted. So I can imagine that that's probably why the film doesn't really work. It feels kind of disjointed and not really thought out. However, Anthony Mackie, I feel he does the best that he can with the material at hand. Now, I've seen Anthony Mackie in multiple things over the years. One of them was Black Mirror, in that he plays a character who ends up falling in love with another male character. Now, for me, the idea and the premise was really cool. I just felt that the performance wasn't believable. Not saying that it has to be balls deep to convince him, but it just didn't really feel that it came off the page. It felt like the commitment wasn't really there. Another show that I thought he's gonna nail it was a TV show called Altered Carbon, which is on Netflix. The first season was amazing. Great premise, great idea. I felt when he became the lead, the show kind of lost its juice, its energy. It just wasn't great. And I don't know if that was to do with the writing or something happening on set or just maybe a creative difference. But if you haven't already, please check out that TV show. The first season and the second season works. I just personally wasn't impressed by the second season. But great TV show. First season, mwah. However, on the other hand, when I look at his performance in the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier that was premiered on Disney Plus, oh my gosh, that was amazing. You know, like when you're worried someone can't really land the landing, then you find, okay, if the script and the writing and the scenario is good, and like for me, Anthony Mackie shines. And I really loved the buddy kind of tag team relationship between him and Sebastian Stan. And I really loved the on-screen chemistry that they both showed throughout the TV show. And I really enjoyed some of the writing choices that were being presented, with the fact that can Sam, the character, Sam Wilson, be the new Captain America? Does America want a black Captain America? You know what I mean? So there was really interesting topics to talk about in that TV show, and I really, really enjoyed it. And if you haven't, check out that TV show. It's really great. So let's talk about some of the other cast members in the film. Now let's go there, Mr. Harrison Ford. Now, let me just pause a second. I was sitting in there, and listen, this is Harrison Ford. He's doing his lines and saying his bits. And I'm sitting in the cinema going, oh my gosh, Harrison Ford, he's actually giving it a go. He's actually going for it. Now, it's been a well-known fact over the last couple of years, Harrison Ford hasn't really, when he's doing TV roles or movie acting roles, he hasn't really gone for it. Or he's done stuff that most people go that he's probably doing it for the paycheck, and I reckon the paycheck that came from Marvel was very substantial. And I can understand probably why the feeling that Harrison Ford doesn't really go for it anymore. Probably he's getting old and it just means that he can do whatever he wants. However, this was the first time in a long time where I'm like, oh my gosh, Harrison Ford's actually giving it a go and really trying to sell Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross why he's doing what he's doing. And he really brings across quite a credible, believable performance. Now, I know Harrison Ford from his iconic lines like,
Get off my plane.
you know, in Air Force One. And I'm talking about, when I say I know Harrison Ford, when it comes to his performances, I know him from his great performance in Blade Runner and also in Blade Runner 2049. And I feel like, oh my gosh, man, he was robbed. Like, he had very small scenes and just to, you know, like I would call it memory berries to get us in and go, oh my God, it's Harrison Ford, you know, those kinds of things. I feel like because it was so short, he was never allowed to showcase his acting chops and his abilities. I know he's in a very, very successful TV show called Shrinking, where he plays a psychiatrist. And I could see in that he's really enjoying himself. And he's done really well in some other TV shows. But it's rarity to see him actually giving his all. For me, this was the first time I saw him actually feel like he's taking this role seriously, where he's working to transform and bring to life this character, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, and help us understand why he does what he does, and which is he wants to make amends with his daughter. And that's only achieved because Harrison Ford commits to the role. So in the film, something has happened to Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. I just love trying to say all those words, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. I'm a big Hulk fan, so just knowing that the character's back is so cool. And you can tell that something has happened in his life, and Harrison's portrayal allows you to feel empathy for him. And if you know anything about, even if you've seen the previous Incredible Hulk movies, you would know that Thunderbolt Ross is not really a nice guy. He gets really angry. So this film is about him and showing us kind of why he would do what he's doing. And I was really happy and pleased to see that. So let's talk about Carl Lumbly. It's so cool to have Carl Lumbly in this, and he is portraying the first Captain America, Isaiah Bradley. Now, I really love the storyline that they used in the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And you find out that Isaiah Bradley is actually the first Captain America. So I love the fact in this movie they bring his character back. I mean, so many people say that when watching a TV show, that storyline is the heart and beat of the show. And so I was so happy to see him being brought back. There were a couple of times for me I thought they were going to kill him off to help further the plot. And there's many a times in this new Captain America movie that doesn't happen. There's a couple of times where you're like, oh my God, they're going to kill him. But it doesn't happen. So I was really, really just pleased to see him back. So let's talk a bit more about the film. Now, this is in the aftermath of Avengers Endgame. We're now swept into a whole new scenario. Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross has now become president, and this film starts 5 months after his presidency. Now, when you're watching the film, you can definitely see shades of the old Captain America movies like The First Avenger and more the Winter Soldier. It's cool that they were willing to go and bring kind of shades of that kind of element, the spy genre, and trying to add those kind of flavors into the film. However, the one thing you would say about those films, because you've got a chance to spend time with Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes, you find that those two movies work and you don't mind it. However, in this one, I do like the fact that they decided to not go down that path. And I do like the fact that they decided to maybe lean into the idea of, is Sam ready to be Captain America? Now, I'm going to call it for what it is. Is it possible that a black man can be Captain America? Is it possible that a black man can take on the weight and burden that kind of responsibility? And I feel it was appropriate for the film to do that. You will find, and some people, predominantly some of the critics, were saying it's retreading old storylines that were in the original TV show. And I'm like going, I think that's purely, yes, you're valid. However, one, this is the first Captain America movie. I don't think many people have even watched that TV show. So they're probably wondering, what happened? All I remember, Captain Rogers gives him the shield at the end of Endgame. So they don't know what's happened, how he's got there. So it felt for me appropriate for them to revisit a little bit of what was going on, but to curve out a different kind of story. To be honest though, it's not really about him. It's all about Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. It's about how this man becomes president and what he would do if he was president. And I felt like the writers did such a great job to bring that story to life. So, off late, there's been some people on X proclaiming and saying this is the worst film they've ever seen. And I'm like, come on, man. I think this type of trend needs to stop. You know what? Let me tell you 2 films that probably would be considered the worst films ever. That's in the kind of a superhero genre. Has anyone seen the Super Mario Brothers? Oh, I'm going there. Does anyone remember Batman and Robin? Now, I'm going to be even more annoying. Personally, I don't even think those 2 films are the worst films in the world. I just feel like these negative titles are used to generate clicks and to also create controversy. And it's a shame, because I think every film should be judged based on the attempt, the energy, and the desire to convey a story. While I don't think Captain America Brave New World deserves to be called the worst film ever, I do feel that it is a bit of a letdown. One thing I will say, and I did hear rumours that because of what had happened with the test screenings, this film has kind of been chopped and changed and made into something that it wasn't the original intentions of the writer and director. So sometimes you're never going to get an amazing film if the studio aren't interfering with it. I would definitely say the third act of the film is the best part. The fact that you're seeing the story play out in the way that it does. This film is really about Thunderbolt Ross. And I love the fact that they were willing to talk about a depowered Captain America and how is he gonna get on with being Captain America. I have to give the writers credit. Yes, I know when it came to the showdown between Captain America and the Red Hulk, some people were saying there's no way he would survive. I do think the writers did enough work for us to make it believable for that showdown and what the vibranium armor, wings, and shield can do. And you know what? Sam lost. We know that. But the writers get it back to this core belief of what Sam is. Sam is not a superhero. He's a counselor. He's someone that likes to talk and negotiate and get people to calm down. So I feel like the writers did their job. Overall, for me, I really enjoyed the film. I would definitely recommend it to my friends. I need to go see it again, actually, just because it was so much fun just seeing the sheer destruction of what a Hulk can do. It was just so nice, and I thought that was quite fun and really gave a bit of felicity and just energy to what we were watching. Anyway, I think I've talked enough. Thank you so much for listening and hearing me out. Sorry if I went a bit passionate and quite in depth with regards to the characters. I just thought it would be fun to just talk about them. And well, I haven't done the big question. I should be asking you guys. 1, have you seen Captain America Brave New World? What did you think of it? Where do you rank it in regards to the other Captain America movies? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And once again, thank you so much for checking out this video. And like I always like to say, if you can dream, you can be. Peace.